So former President Trump has really seemingly pissed off various pro-life groups. Let's dive into this here. Prominent pro-life group denounces Trump's opposition to national abortion ban as morally indefensible. So, I can give you some of this article here, but the gist of it is Donald Trump came out and said abortion should be left up to the states. So in other words, he's taking the position that, yes, Roe versus Wade should have been overturned, and red states should do whatever they want when it comes to abortion. They can ban it at conception, for all I care. But the blue states, if they want to have different laws, let them have different laws. Now, this was the Republican position forever. This was their position for as long as Roe versus Wade has been in effect. But since Roe versus Wade has been overturned, they've now moved the goalpost to say, did we say states decide, bro? We didn't mean that at all, bro. What we actually meant was we should do a national abortion ban. So Trump's coming out there and saying, no, leave it up to the states. And now he's pissed them all off as a result of it. So Marjorie Dannenfelser, the president of the Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America Group, one of the most prominent pro-life advocacy organizations in the country, put former President Trump on blast in a statement responding to his opposition to national restrictions on abortion. In a statement delivered to the Washington Post on Thursday, a Trump campaign spokesman explained that, quote, President Donald J. Trump believes that the Supreme Court, led by the 3 justices which he supported, got it right when they ruled this is an issue that should be decided at the state level. Dannenfelser bristled at Trump's interpretation of the Supreme Court ruling in Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization. That's the case that overturned Roe versus Wade. So here's what they said. Quote, President Trump's assertion that the Supreme Court returned the issue of abortion solely to the states is a completely inaccurate reading of the Dobbs decision and is a morally indefensible position for a self-proclaimed pro-life presidential candidate to hold. Life is a matter of human rights, not states' rights. Saying that the issue should only be decided at the states is an endorsement of abortion up until the moment of birth, even brutal late-term abortions in states like California, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. Damn. So this is the hardest I've seen any of these groups go after Trump, calling his position morally indefensible, saying, hey man, you're effectively endorsing late-term abortion. We will oppose any presidential candidate who refuses to embrace, at a minimum, a 15-week national standard to stop painful late-term abortions while allowing states to enact further protections, continued Dannenfelser, holding to the position that this is exclusively up to the states is an abdication of responsibility by anyone elected to federal office. Now, understand something. This pro-life person and these pro-life groups are complete and utter hypocrites, because it was not that long ago that they were taking the exact same position that Trump is taking right now. They're just getting greedy because Roe versus Wade was overturned. There was a huge case that went in their direction. So again, they're moving the goalposts. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter that they're going after Trump. See, this is what people don't understand. Ben Shapiro doesn't understand this. Many people on the right, the right intelligentsia, don't understand this. They're never going to turn on Trump over, like, positions he takes on issues. Because to them, it's not about the positions. It's about the vibes. Like, I guarantee you, Trump will get more of the pro-life community to vote for him over other Republicans who are better on the issue from their perspective. Like, Mike Pence wants to give them a national abortion ban starting at the moment of conception. But I bet you more pro-lifers will vote for Donald Trump. Why? Because, again, it's more about the vibes. It's more about the vibes. And also, keep it real, this is smart politics from Donald Trump here. His calculation is these pro-life groups have no teeth. Nobody cares what they say. Nobody cares what they believe. They're a tiny, tiny percentage of the population. And I care more about looking more electable in the general election, where the population is overwhelmingly pro-choice. I mean, we just covered the poll, new NBC poll, 58% of Americans would describe themselves as pro-choice. When you get into, hey, should Roe versus Wade have been overturned, it's an even bigger number, right? That people are clearly on the side of being pro-choice in this country. So Trump is saying, I need to make sure I'm okay for the general election, so I'm going to say, no, I'm more moderate on the issue of abortion. I'm going to take this position, which is a moderate position now on the issue of abortion. I'm not going full Mike Pence. I'm not banning abortion from the moment of conception. I think that goes too far. There was reporting right after Roe versus Wade got overturned where Trump came out and said, this is going to hurt Republicans. This is going to hurt. Now, he supported Roe v. Wade being overturned, and he gave us the justices that in turn did that, but he also realizes the politics of it, where he's like, okay, this is going to hurt us. This is actually going to hurt us quite a bit. And so what he's trying to do is distance himself from the people who are really loud and aggressive but don't have that much sway and maintain credibility with moderates. Now, by the way, it's been amazing to watch Trump so far campaigning, because in the midterm elections, he lost his normie touch. He was out there saying the 2020 election was stolen. He would say that nonstop. He was leaning into these extremist positions. And by the way, they paid the price for that in the midterms. So it seems like, at least to this moment, Trump has sort of course-corrected a little bit, because now what he's talking about more often than not is protecting Social Security and Medicare and not going as extreme on the issue of abortion. So it's almost like he realized my extremism didn't help in the midterms, and now he's like moderating his position and his tone a little bit. Now, I say that, but then again, I don't trust that he could keep his mouth shut about the 2020 election. I think he'll still lean into like, rigged election, it was stolen from me. In fact, I'm sure he's still doing it like every week. So he hasn't fully learned the lesson, right? But at least on certain issues, he seemingly has. It's really, really interesting to watch this unfold. So they continue here. So the head of that pro-life group, Dannenfelser, opposed Trump during the 2016 presidential primaries, urging voters to pick anyone but him. She later professed to be happy to be totally eating my words and called him the most pro-life president in the country's history. By the way, that's the other point of this, right? Is that, like, Trump did give them exactly what they wanted. You want a Roe versus Wade overturned? He gave you the justices who overturned Roe versus Wade, and now you're going, you're not pure enough! Because suddenly you've shifted your position, and your position is now national abortion ban. Trump's stated opposition to national legislation restricting abortion comes after the most formidable challenger to his third bid for the Republican nomination, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, signed a bill banning abortion in the Sunshine State after 6 weeks earlier this month. Trump's campaign did not respond to a question from the Post about whether it supported the state-level restriction signed by DeSantis. So again, this is DeSantis trying to get the support of these pro-life people. That's what that is. But I don't think it's going to work. And also, DeSantis just hurt his chances in a general election by doing that. So DeSantis is pandering to the extremes, desperately trying to get his poll numbers to go up. Donald Trump is telling the extremes to piss off. And I think Trump calculated properly on this one, because when you look at the position, when you look at the poll numbers for this policy that they're espousing, I've seen polls as low as like 9% or 7% of the country that supports a national abortion ban. And so for Trump to tell these guys to kick rocks, I think he's right. And I think he accurately views the situation that these people are not going to hurt him electorally. They're kind of irrelevant. And he's standing on firmer ground by telling them to piss off. Because remember, it's not like Donald Trump has the right position on abortion. It's not like he's in favor of the right to choose. He just wants to leave it up to the states. But in this insane political environment, that has now become a more moderate position compared to other Republican politicians. So, and again, I still bet you at the end of the day, Trump will get more of the votes of these pro-life people than any of the other candidates. Because everything I've seen to this point backs that up, right? He had a scandal with the pro-life people not too long ago. And what happened? His number still went up because he was indicted and everybody circled the wagon. So, look, I think he's on solid ground here. And also, he just gave a speech after this scandal. He just gave a speech. And in the speech, he was still doing his standard, standard talking points of any pro-life Republican. We're going to protect life. That's what we're going to do. We're going to protect the beautiful unborn babies. And all they need is that little bit of rhetoric. And then, they're sold. So it's kind of funny watching a group with such little political sway, fundamentally, trying to go after the juggernaut and the behemoth on the right, whose numbers only continue to go up. It's kind of crazy when you watch it unfold like this. So many of the standard rules of political gravity don't apply when it comes to Trump and when it comes to modern politics. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.